How would you advise me?
Well, first of all, I really need to give some thought to like how can I provide advice that would be most helpful, and I'm not sure I've given enough thought to that to give you the best possible answer. But I think certainly being focused on something that you're confident will have high value to someone else, and just being really rigorous in making that assessment, because people tend to a natural human tendency is wishful thinking. So a challenge for entrepreneurs is to say, well, what's the difference between really believing in your ideals and sticking to them versus pursuing some unrealistic dream that doesn't actually have merit? And that is a really difficult thing to tell you. Can you tell the difference between those two things?
Right.
You know? So you need to be sort of very rigorous in your self-analysis. I think certainly extremely tenacious, and then just work like hell. I mean, you just have to put in, 80 to 100-hour weeks every week.
In a space of a year, Elon Musk's net worth skyrocketed from $20 billion in 2019 to over $200 billion by the end of 2020. If you want to make this year your year, there is no one better to listen to than this guy. So relax, put your feet up, and let's explore how we will make this year your year. Hello everyone, I'm Alex and welcome to the channel. It's a brand new year, and with it we make brand new goals, or more commonly known as New Year resolutions. However, for many of us, no matter how many times we set our goals, something always comes in the way. Whether it's a bad breakup, you're not being paid enough at work so you can't pursue that business you always wanted to start, or people are just out to get you, or even better worse, the government is preventing your success. The list of excuses goes on and on. The reason we found ourselves in this position, failing to progress on our set goals, is because we do not understand the obstacles that appear on our path to success. When such problems appear in our lives, we are neither prepared mentally or knowledge-wise on how to deal with these problems. And when they do show up, we inevitably give up on our goals because we feel that the task is too impossible. The reason Elon Musk is so successful in most of his ventures is because he understands how to deal with problems in his life. Unlike most of us who choose to give up, he calmly dismantles the problems and finds an appropriate solution to move forward with his goals. To be well prepared, I feel it's important to understand where we make our biggest mistakes, and that's where we start.
I think one of the biggest mistakes people generally make, and I'm guilty of it too, is wishful thinking. Like you want something to be true, even if it isn't true, and so you ignore the things that you ignore the real truth because of what you want to be true. This is a very difficult trap to avoid, and like I said, it's certainly one that I find myself in having problems with. But if you just take that approach of you're always to some degree wrong, and your goal is to be less wrong, and solicit critical feedback, particularly from friends. Like particularly friends, if somebody loves you, they want the best for you. They don't want to tell you the bad things. So you have to ask them, and say, really, I really do want to know. and then they'll tell you.
Wishful thinking is a natural part of human tendencies, so setting unrealistic goals is not really surprising. However, to be successful, you must know the difference between when you're pursuing an unrealistic goal or when you're pursuing something that is both meaningful and attainable, so that you don't waste your time. To make sure that you don't pursue unrealistic goals, it is advisable to set your goals using SMART, goal setting strategies. When I mean smart, I'm talking about specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, time-bound goals. Learn how to do this, and you've made your first step towards being successful. It is shocking how many people set a goal without having an actual action plan on how to achieve it. Why does this happen? In my opinion, it's blatant laziness. To achieve success, you have to actually exert some effort. The moment effort gets into the equation, people tend to throw their hands up in the air and say, this is too much for me. We wouldn't want our goal to get in the way of really important stuff like watching Netflix, playing games, hanging out with friends. That's far more important. During the process of planning how to achieve their goals, they just leave their plans incomplete, hoping that it will solve itself. For example, they might want to lose weight and figure out that they don't have enough time to exercise because of work or other commitments. So an obvious solution to this problem is probably to wake up an hour earlier and do your exercises then. But because they value sleep over the success they want to achieve, they'll come up with excuses like they don't have enough time, they don't have enough energy, they're working too hard, they'll do it next time, all this kind of stuff. Don't get me started with our modern day obsession of instant gratification. Any goals are meant to be done instantly, and if you don't see results in the first 2 weeks, you give up on them. Let me paint you a picture. You want to get a six-pack so that you can post yourself on social media. So you make losing weight your goal for the year. This is wonderful. But since you work, you don't have enough time to work out. You also have to start eating healthy, which means more time cooking. Basically, you have to leave your comfort zone and do something really difficult, which requires you to work harder than you've ever worked hard before. For most people, they will choose the easy way out and come up with a list of reasons why they can't work as hard as they should to achieve their goals. You are too tired from work to work out. You don't know how to cook. It costs too much money to eat healthy, so you can't afford it. The list goes on and on and on. Surely, if you have this kind of mindset, planning a proper plan of action is totally out of the question. To overcome this is purely based on the person's individual will to succeed. You have to sit down with yourself, be honest with yourself, and assess whether you have the willpower to achieve the goals you want to achieve. There are no shortcuts, no tricks, no formulas, no products that can help you overcome your laziness. It all depends on how much you really want to achieve your goals. Not having anyone in your corner is a huge disadvantage when you're trying to be successful. If you don't have someone to tell you the truth, like what you're doing wrong or how to improve, progressing your goal becomes extremely difficult. You need help from a mentor to teach you the necessary skills to be successful. You need help from a friend with resources. You need emotional support from a spouse. You need family to be able to look after you when you can't look after yourself. The reason that you are failing to achieve your goals may be because you are trying to do it all by yourself. Don't be afraid to reach out to people. We are only human after all. We can achieve so much more with a group of trusted individuals than we can ever do when we're all alone. So if you don't have a network to rely on, make it your number one priority this year to build a network. Your future success really depends on it. I have noticed when people make life goals, they like to go with the flow. They have no way to track their progress. It's like they're expecting the journey towards their goal to be as simple as 1, 2, 3. The reason this happens is because people don't think that far ahead when they are setting their goals. They see the starting point and then they see the destination. No middle, no struggles, no plans. The reason people don't track their goals is because they don't realize the benefit it brings. I personally like tracking my goals because it develops discipline. Having a step-by-step plan is only the first step towards achieving your goal. What you also need is a tracking plan which states what you have done and what is needed to be done to achieve your goals. However, I feel the number one reason people don't track their goals is because they don't understand how to do it. And since they don't place much importance on tracking in the first place, it is not surprising to see them fail at their goals. They just ignore it as if there's one of those small details that will sort themselves out and wait for magic to happen, which of course doesn't. What tends to happen is on their journey of achieving the goals they want to achieve, they start doing stuff that are totally unrelated to the goal they set themselves. And by the time they realize that they're doing something completely different from what they initially wanted to do, a year has passed and we start this whole roller coaster all over again. So if you're serious about achieving your goals, do not forget to track them. But we are here to pursue success in the same manner Elon Musk does. Luckily for us, the man is not selfish with his secrets to success.
I think advice, I mean, if you want to make progress in things, I think that the best analytical framework for understanding the future is physics. I'd recommend studying the thinking process around physics, like not the equations. I mean, the equations certainly they're helpful, but the way of thinking in physics is it's the best framework for understanding things that are counterintuitive. And always taking the position that you are to some degree wrong, and your goal is to be less wrong over time.
No one would deny the brilliance of Elon Musk, but the secret to his success is not how intelligent he is, but his approach to how he solves problems. If we approach problems the same way physics problems are solved, then our chances of success dramatically increase. How exactly do you solve problems like physicists do? To solve problems in physics, there are 5 steps. Focus on the problem. On this step, we are basically visualizing the problem in front of us. If you can develop a mental picture in your mind, it is easier to understand what you're facing. And what tends to happen is whilst you visualize the problem, you also visualize the solution to that problem. Physics description. At this stage in physics, that image in our head needs vital information attached to it. So we translate that image into our head into simple diagrams which give essential information for a mathematical solution. So basically you have a mathematical war chest filled with formulas, concepts, and vital measurements. And you're looking through that war chest to see what fits so that you can produce the ideal solution that you visualized in step 1. Plan a solution. At this step, we formulate a strategy of how exactly we plan to solve the problem. We know what we want to achieve, and we have the tools to achieve the target result. So not to get lost and start solving things we were not asked to solve, it's a good idea to plan how we will use the specific algebraic equations you took from your war chest in step 2 so that we enable you to calculate the target solution which you visualized in step 1. Execute the plan. With the plan ready, what is left is to execute it. Since this is physics, the result should have a single equation with the target solution on one side and the known quantities of the problem on the other side. Evaluate the solution. This is the most important step. The solution you have come up with, does it actually solve the problem? Does it make sense? Is it practical? Does it take too long? All these are important questions you must ask yourself while evaluating the solution you have come up with. This is all very interesting, but how does this process help you solve problems like Elon Musk? To understand this better, let's use an example. So let's say you are hungry. How do we use this physics problem to solve this problem? Step 1. So remember, we are visualizing the problem, which produces a visual of the solution at the same time. So in this case, I am hungry, so I want to have pizza. So the vision in my head is a pizza. Here, we are taking the image in our head and adding essential information to it. So for this instance, we want pizza. So this essential information would be the ingredients to make that pizza. So stuff like flour, yeast, cheese, tomato paste, and any other topping I'd like to put on top of the pizza. At this stage, we are planning on how to get the solution done. So since we want pizza, the plan would be the recipe of how to make the pizza. At this stage, we follow the recipe and make the pizza. So the pizza is done and ready to be eaten. The last time I made pizza for myself, this was the evaluation I gave for myself. First of all, I left the pizza too long in the oven, so it got burnt. Second, I didn't put enough holes in the base, so the pizza was very bumpy. Third, I didn't flour my surface properly, which caused the pizza to deform as I was trying to put it in the oven. And fifth, I forgot to put salt in my base. All in all, the pizza didn't come out well, and seems that I need to improve my cooking skills. From this evaluation, it's clear to see that the solution I produced was not the ideal solution for this situation. Next time, I have to follow the recipe better and maybe ask for advice from someone better qualified to make pizza. What do you think of this method? Is it practical? Have any of you tried it? If you have, please write down in the comments. If I messed up, please tell me where. If you like the video, please leave a like. If you didn't, there's a dislike button.